Hi, and welcome to your Wellness Wednesday video. The flower essence that came up today is the flower essence of Beech, which is a tree, I know, but still an essence. And it came up under the area of perfectionism. I love this flower essence for perfectionism. And interestingly enough, if you've never smelled beech essential oil, it smells amazing. That's just a side note. Um, what beech helps us with is tolerance and acceptance of others. And why it came under perfectionism is someone needing beech is overly and hypercritical of others. They expect perfectionism, so they are very critical of how people do things. Um, they can't handle any kind of imperfection, whether it be physical, emotional, spiritual, anything. And they expect really high standards. And where that actually stems from is because they are highly sensitive themselves and have those expectations, if not higher ones, of themselves. And so the perfectionism is actually turned inward, which makes them judge others outside. And like I always say, if you find you're judging someone on the outside, chances are you're judging yourself on the inside for that same thing, or a lack of that same thing, or something around that same thing. So it's not surprising that Beech, like it says here, their tendency to be critical due to an inner sense of inferiority and hypersensitivity, which is projected onto others. And so I encourage you, if this essence resonates with you, if you are hypercritical of people, if you expect perfectionism from others and from yourself, you can use it for yourself too. That you kind of take a minute to sit back and see maybe where this might be coming from. In the write up about this essence, it talks about maybe they were brought up under really harsh circumstances where they were pushed to excel, pushed to succeed, were not given kind of any rewards or congratulations, or it was always, well, next time, like if the example I think of is if someone came home with a 90% on a test, it's like, well, next time maybe you'll get 100. And so it's that those impossible standards that they've kind of internalized and definitely turned on themselves internally, whether they're aware of it or not, which makes them judge others harshly as well. So, Beech helps us to have that tolerance, helps us to accept others' differences and imperfections, and helps us to see the good within each person and situation so that they're able to offer praise. If you think about it, a lot of times people who do expect perfectionism from themselves and from others find it really hard to offer praise. I know I can think of examples in my life where I had, evaluations or can't think of the word right now, but like in interviews, I can't even think of the word. But where my boss was telling me, how I was doing, and they were rating them like 1 to 5, and they're like, "Oh, I never give a 5 because no one can ever be a 5." And so those kind of things are that inability to give praise to others, inability to see that in others because there's no ability to see it in yourself. And the ego loves perfectionism. It like I said, comes from a wounding because it feels that if you can do, be, and act perfect, then you'll never be rejected or you'll never be hurt or you'll never be called names or anything. So if you think about that in the life cycle of someone who grew up with really harsh standards, it's not surprising. I can see the whole kind of process of it. So they internalize this and they feel very wounded from that. And so the ego, in its very hurt way, is to try and keep them from ever feeling that hurt again. And so they push them to perfectionism. So I know at one point in my life, this used to be an answer to a question that I put on in interviews. People would say, what's one of your strengths or weaknesses? And I know doing interviews, people will say perfectionism is a strength. It's not. Perfectionism, I know now, is self abuse of the highest order. It is impossible standards put on yourself to what we think to keep us motivated, but it's not about motivation at all. It's about self abuse, really, at the core of it, which is, again, that. That we don't deserve it. We don't deserve the praise. We don't deserve anything good because we're not perfect, as in our minds. And so Beech helps us to, like I said, see the good in that's good in all situations in others and in ourselves. So it's a beautiful flower essence to help us move out of this hypercritical, hypersensitive, wounded place and start doing the healing work. There are so many layers to perfectionism that chances are, like in a session, this is well, I know this wouldn't be the only essence that came up, because again, when we're talking about wounding like this and patterns of behavior like this, there's so it's such a web of different things that are entangled into it. So it kind of, you have to work through the different layers of it. And like I said, the way I see it is a web. And so there's a whole bunch of different strings. So you could definitely do the healing with Beech for part of it. But there's definitely more kind of that would come with that. Again, though, a beautiful offering from the flower essences today for anyone who finds themselves being overly harsh on others or themselves. So, to bring Beech in, just take a deep breath and repeat after me. I ask for the flower essence of Beech to enter my energy field, energy body, and physical consciousness with the help of the divine. I ask for the flower essence of Beech to assist me with releasing perfectionism and softening my soul pain so that I am able to reestablish connection with my higher self and sense the love and unconditional acceptance that radiates from the spiritual world. I ask for the flower essence of Beech to manifest, to integrate. And then just take a deep breath and feel that energy. And then say, put your hands wherever you're feeling it move, or just put your hands on your temples and say, and stabilize. You may need to bring this in a couple times. It's, like I said, perfectionism runs deep and is very much tied to a lot of things. So it may need to bring it in several times. Uh, for those who need it, I'm sure this video will find you and will help you kind of start that healing journey. So best of luck. And as always, if you're interested in a personal healing session, you can DM me or reach out to me on my website. Much love.